January of 23, I started baking bagels in Brunswick. I started at Midcoast Hunger at their community kitchen, and then last summer, the summer of 2024, switched over to this kitchen, which is just a half a mile away, also on Brunswick Landing, and started producing here. And then of course the numbers of courses I teach then expanded also, so we're now doing not just bagel classes, but also Chinese dumpling classes, Chinese bao classes, lots of different things like that. I started with the classes, and then pretty much concurrent to the beginning of the online classes, I also got the opportunity to write a cookbook during the pandemic, which was also a great thing to do when you were locked at home. And so I worked with a publisher to write a Chinese hot pot cookbook, which was a lot of fun. We're doing a lot of classes now that still involve dough, which is really where the Knead and Knead Nosh comes from. But we make dumplings using fresh dough, we make Chinese steamed bao using fresh dough and things like that. Throughout the year I'm baking bagels, and so obviously there's lots of different flavors. Pretty much you'll always find on the menu everything bagels and sesame bagels, poppy seed, sea salt, plain bagels. And then I usually try and introduce another couple flavors that rotate on a monthly basis typically. So pumpernickel has been on the main menu for a while now, and so is jalapeño. But then you'll see things like cinnamon raisin bagels find their way onto the menu, or right now at this time of year we've got orange cranberry bagels, I've made roasted garlic bagels, Maine blueberry bagels, all kinds of different flavors. I've got two primary sources of flour. So most of the bagels are made with a high gluten flour from King Arthur, and that's because that gets us the really kind of authentic New York chewy bagel. But I also like to have Maine grains flour in the bagel sometimes. And then otherwise a bagel is really just flour, salt, water, yeast, and then malt barley syrup. And that malt syrup is just kind of the traditional flavoring and sweetener, as well as it helps with the browning of the bagel. So right now you can find the bagels both here in the production kitchen in Brunswick. You can find the dates that I'm baking and pre-order for a particular date on the website at kneadandnosh.com. And otherwise you can find me during the summer months at the farmers markets, Yarmouth Farmers Market, Cumberland Farmers Market. Sometimes I'm even in the winter doing some pop-up sales over at Wild Oats, our local biggest bakery. So they've been great to support me as well. So I think small batch foods, what's important to me is that the food that I make, I made. Right? And I didn't just, I have a commercial mixer to help me make the dough, but after that I roll them, I boil them, I bake them, and I do that all by hand. And it means that I'm really making the food, and it isn't just pushing some button on some machine and having it kind of come out mass-produced, because I think as we've seen, increasingly mass-produced foods have ingredient lists that you can't read and you can't pronounce what's in them. We know what goes in my bagels. It's flour, salt, water, yeast, and malt, and that's it. And then if it's a sesame seed bagel, you throw some sesame seeds on it, but otherwise, it's a very simple list of ingredients. We know what's in there. They're fresh and they're made right here. Thanks for stopping by Knead Nosh and trying out the bagels. And remember, as you're looking out for foods, support your local baker. So if you're not right here in the Brunswick Midcoast region, there are other bagel bakers I know in Maine that I keep track of and have met. And so find one of them, seek them out, support your local baker.